to this special edition of Hannity. As we are live from the Iowa State Fair, we continue to be joined by former Alaska Governor, Fox News contributor Sarah Palin. All right, well, I think we're at a tipping point, and I think we're watching, almost before our very eyes, a meltdown of the presidency in terms of Barack Obama's ability to pivot, to adjust, to change. You know, give Clinton his due. When push came to shove, he did shift.
He did.
I don't see this in this president. Why?
And Clinton did. He was smart enough and pragmatic enough to know that he needed to roll over from that way left side of the bed and kind of go over into the center there. And he had Congress, though, to shift him to the center.
Right.
And
push him.
Yeah, and they were strong enough. And that helped. That helped our economy. That helped our country. No, Obama isn't capable of doing that. I don't know if we're seeing so much, Sean, though, a meltdown of a presidency. I think we're seeing a great awakening of the American public. They're seeing what you saw, what I saw in candidate Obama.
Right.
When we were questioning his record, we knew that he wasn't being vetted. We didn't
at all.
Voters were not told what it was that he truly believed in until we saw some snippets here and there that were uncensored, unedited, when he alluded to his desire to redistribute wealth and to fundamentally transform America. Now, people are realizing what he meant by that fundamental transformation of America, and they're saying, no, that is not what we need. What we need is a great restoration of America.
But here's a more serious question. If we're really at that tipping point, I agree that there's a rising ascendancy in the country. We see the impact of the Tea Party movement. We saw the impact in the 2010 race. You've been all around the country. But the question is, when half the country doesn't pay taxes, when 15% are now on food stamps, we have a dependency entitlement class. It's almost the voting majority. Does that become problematic?
Of course it does.
Explain.
Of course it does, because all President Obama needs is for more people to not be working and not paying into the system, but being takers from the system than not, and he can get reelected. And that is why it's so important for people to get engaged, to do their homework, to understand the issues, to understand the paramount situation that we're facing today, and making sure that they're doing all that they can to get engaged in these electoral politics of 2012, supporting candidates that they can believe in, and making sure that their candidate understands free market principles, understands that government has got to rein itself in. We've got to incentivize industry so it stays here and we don't chase jobs offshore.
All right, it was interesting. As I have an opportunity to interview you often, and you said that you would get in if you didn't see a candidate that was really emerging and resonating with the American people. One thing I have noticed in the last few times that I've interviewed you is that your passion is rising. You're going around the country. I see a shift. I sense that your desire to be involved is becoming greater. Am I interpreting that correctly?
You know, I've described that as a fire in the belly. And it's not just me, but it's so many Americans who we are speaking with today.
No, you know what my fire in the belly is? Fire Obama. That's my fire in the belly.
Good, that's good. Sincere, because I love this country. These folks love this country. They want to make sure that we are handing the next generation the blessings of liberty, and those liberties are being taken away from us economically and in a realm of other areas, Sean, because from the top down, folks are not understanding in Washington, D.C. the exceptionalism that is America and what it's going to take to restore that exceptionalism, protection of our Constitution, respect for that Constitution, respect for the free market that allowed America to be as prosperous as it is today.
Right. Now, one of the things I've been saying is we've got to balance a budget.
That's
so
simple.
if you run, what is your plan? How would you get us to a balanced budget? Realistically, how long does it take you as president to do it, even perhaps if you have a divided Congress?
You've got to get in there as president and finally present a plan to Congress.
In writing?
A real plan where you are showing where the cuts can and should be made. We have got to reform entitlements. There's no question about that. We have got to cut back on all of the spending, especially those things that the federal government is trying to do that state governments could and should be doing. Say Department of Education. We do not need this grandiose largesse in Department of Education on a federal level when it's the states that should have control of curricula, and our local levels of government have more say in what we teach our kids. And that principle applies to every area of government. We have got to respect the 10th Amendment, let states' rights really shine through, empower the states. More importantly, though, Sean, empower the people of America. That's the fundamental problem we see here coming out of Washington. There is no faith given to the American people, to our small businesses, understanding that you all know better how to spend your own money than politicians in Washington, D.C. know how to spend. They can invest their money and they can hire people and get this economy rolling.
Here's an important question, because every time Republicans have tried to balance the budget, cut Medicare, Social Security to prevent it from going bankrupt, we saw Paul Ryan getting thrown over the cliff, throwing Granny over the cliff. Republicans want to poison the air, water, kill children. President Obama said that he wants kids with autism, Down syndrome, and the elderly to fend for themselves. None of these things are true. How do you break through the propaganda, the predictable arguments that, oh, we need bigger government, oh, and Republicans, these cuts are draconian when you talk about balancing the budget? Because I don't see Republicans fighting back hard enough against what are basically lies.
Yeah, and they are lies. And no, okay, that is your job and that is my job, is busting through those lies, holding those liars accountable, and making sure that they're not getting away with telling the American public that government is the answer. You know government isn't the answer. Government is the problem in too many situations. All you have to do, look what's going on in Greece. Look what's going on in socialized country. As they grew government, they couldn't afford it. Now look what is happening in those countries. Let's not repeat the mistakes that we are seeing elsewhere. Let's do what we know America needs done. Cut spending, balance the budget, cap these expenditures that we know can't keep growing. Let's allow energy independence in America. We have the God-given resources right here. That's going to be a fundamental change that needs to be implemented in order to get the economy on the right track.
All of us that agree with everything you just said, we're all, based from the Democrats, we're all terrorists.
Evidently,
apparently.
I think that's what you've been called. We've all been called.
Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Sarah Palin.